Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Cougars show. I'm Chris.
I'm Kieran.
And today we are looking ahead to game week, or double game week I should say, 24. We're going to look through each of the upcoming fixtures this weekend, look at the potential key players and a few of those differentials. We'll also talk captaincy and reveal our teams. Keith, let's get straight into recapping game week 23. I think we ended up on the same score, 61.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Interesting. So I went from 147k to 179k, so it was a small red arrow. It was looking pretty bad until Meslier and Bamford came in for Leeds on the Monday night. With the 10 points, I think he got a literally last minute save to get him up to the 3 saves and then the bonus. That was nice. Justin as well with a 9 again with 3 bonus. Kufal 6, Sterling 8, Bruno 7, Salah 7, Bamford 6, Antonio pretty much other than Grealish and Souček was the obviously one of the guys that blanked in my team. And I captained him. Obviously benched Calvert-Lewin for his 12 points against United, which hindsight maybe the wrong call, but I think versus United I still would probably do it again. But it felt like a good week on paper with most of my guys returning, but again captaincy wrong. So I don't know, that just seems to be a little bit of a theme at the moment for me.
Yeah, no, last week, anyone watched the live show last week know that you sort of said you'd captain Antonio if I captain Bamford, and obviously after Antonio blanked, I was like, oh, this is definitely going to go the same way on Monday. And after seeing Bamford sky that chance when he was through 1-on-1, I was fearing the worst, but he did bring it back with that tap in the second half. Did you see him say he captained himself in his FPL team?
I did, yes. Yeah, so he's obviously going to be backing himself most weeks, which is good. Good to hear.
That is good. Yeah, I like that. So I scored 61 overall, and I think I had like a 30k red arrow. I was never really fancying Captain Son, but he would have been like an obvious pick even against West Brom at home. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin scored well for me. My West Ham attackers let me down like they did for you as well, Souček and Antonio, with 0 and 2 respectively. But yeah, a bit disappointing with a red arrow on 61, but you know, it is what it is at the moment, and we'll see if we can get any higher up. I suppose double game week chance to make some ground potentially. Should we have a look at the manager of the week from the mini league?
We shall. Yes, so it was Robbo Klopp, Craigan Moodley, who got 92 points. So he went from 40k up to 17k, which is obviously great. Martinez with 9 points, the Dallas with the 12, Mings as well with 6, the double Villa defence.
Nice.
Chris Creswell 9, Son captain with 20, Bruno Salah as well, Bamford owner, and he played DCL, but unfortunately did bench Gundogan with 13 points. So yeah, maybe if he I guess everyone sort of returned in his team apart from Grealish, I think it was. So if you just played Gundogan instead of Grealish, then huge score. But really can't complain nice. At 90 points. Nice.
Yeah, definitely. All right, should we start then by looking ahead to this double game week? Like I say, I think it was quite a bit to cover, but we'll try and cover all of the fixtures and talk about all the teams. Let's start off, of course, with putting our teams up on screen. Perhaps we'll just have a little quick chat about that before we go anywhere. Now, have you made any transfers up to this point for this game week?
No, not yet. Okay. So my thoughts at the moment are possibly McCarthy out to someone like Areola, because I can't afford a Pope. Unless I sell Souček, but I want to sell Souček to Rafinha instead next week. So I'm just going to deal with no Pope and just get Areola for McCarthy, even though McCarthy has a double next week. Meslier, I can only play one, obviously. I haven't got a bench boost. So Meslier has better fixtures on paper, so I'll keep him rather than McCarthy. And even though McCarthy could get like something like 3 game weeks in a row eventually. So, but at that point, I could just get someone like KWP and for Kufal or something like that. So that's fine. I'm thinking Areola because he's got Fulham. No, he hasn't got Fulham. Sorry, he's got Everton and Burnley. That's it. So on paper, those two don't look too bad. He can get some save points, possibly a clean sheet against Burnley. Everton, who knows? Maybe DCL injured and crocked, and so could get a clean sheet there. Who knows? Because Fulham have been all right defensively, honestly, lately. So I think he's just a why not at this point. Just get an extra double player in there and just see. And then other than that, Calvert-Lewin seems like it's a tweak of the hamstring. Sounds like he's not going to play the first game at least. Possibly doesn't play. Well, if he does play the next one, it'll be against City. So maybe sell him. I mean, I don't know. I kind of fancy Cavani. I would like to get Cavani in for against West Brom, and he was rested in the cup. So those are my two sort of thoughts at the moment. Antonio sounds like he might be okay. So I'm not gonna sell him. But then, I don't really want to bench Souček either. So it's a tough decision.
Yeah, I'm a bit reluctant to sell Calvert-Lewin, even considering the news. I kind of think that it could be one of those where you like really regret it, and he does end up playing that first game and playing both, and that you're not really full got the.
Doesn't seem like he will though. That's the problem. I don't want him to just play City and get 2 points on a double game week.
But do you want him? Not want him after that?
Yeah, well, you probably do because their double game week in 26 looks like it's going to be good. So yeah, I don't know.
I think he is a bit of a tricky one. I mean, you and I have got I think the only like main difference, I've got Bamford on the bench and playing Kufal over him at the minute. Probably by the end of the show, I might end up reviewing this. But I think my transfer is obviously. I mean, Son's going to come out, and I'm going to get a City midfielder. I can afford both Sterling and Gundogan, but I think I'm going to be on Gundogan rather than Sterling, and likely I'll give him the armband. But I think it's a bit of a difficult one because, like you, I've got 2 free transfers, and I'm not sure what else to do. I could go to Pope and double up, like you're doing. Could go to Areola. There's a few options there which I'm not quite sure of yet, and I could. Yeah, there's quite a lot of options still, and maybe after the end of the show I should have a better idea. But really, I want a City midfielder and potentially another Burnley defender. That's really what I'm going for. Because I don't see much value in the Everton defence to sort of think about getting any of their players in. I mean, Dean's looked good recently, but they've been conceding a few goals and not that watertight at the back. So I don't know. And even long term, without like a wild card to get out of it, maybe Dean's not the right option. But they've got a double game week. So there's lots, like you can see, I'm just rambling now, but there's lots of permutations on reasons to have or not have players, basically. All right, well, should we start with the preview then? Because the Saturday lunchtime fixture, Liverpool travelling to Leicester. So this is the sort of the first of 3 in the next 5 games for Liverpool where they're away from home, which probably is going to be good considering they've lost like 3 at home on the bounce now. I mean, they're in really poor form at the moment. They've only won 3 of their last 9. They've only created 9 big chances in the last 6 game weeks, which per appearance is just the 6th best team in the league, much lower down than you'd usually expect them. And sort of as well as not being so good in front of goal, they're not being good at protecting their own. 0 clean sheets for them in the last 5 games. Do you see Leicester coming away victorious in this one? I mean, they themselves been in quite good form.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a tough one. I can't really call it myself. Justin obviously got injured. Who knows what's happening with him at this point? It sounds like he might be okay-ish, but then I imagine he won't play this. Obviously, he's been an integral part of their team. Fofana's still out, so I think Soyuncu's still in there at the moment. He has looked solid lately. So, clean sheet last week. At home, their home record hasn't been great, I suppose. But Liverpool are probably going to need to get back on track, aren't they? And probably maybe make a little tribute to Klopp and his mother after passing away, which is obviously sad. So. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Salah's 3-3 now, isn't he? So pretty good form, I guess. Even though he hasn't looked great in fixtures either. So I don't know. It's really hard to call this one.
Do you think he was a bit? I mean, lucky to get the penalty in the last game against City? I mean, he made the most of Diaz's arm on his hand on his arm, but I suppose he's got to in that situation.
He did make a lot of it, but he had the right to go down after being pulled back. Let's just say that. Okay.
Yeah, you're right though. He is in like decent form recently. So he's 3-3 now, but also he's only scored 3 in his last 9. He himself's got the highest expected points of all the Liverpool players in the last 4 with 27.4, and has returned 26. So he's pretty in line with what he's been expected to do. Per game, that works out about 6.8 points per game. So that's still pretty decent at the moment. And yeah, I think the fact that he's had 10 shots in the box in the last 4 games I think it comes in about the 4th or 5th best player in the league. So yeah, whilst Liverpool seem to be stuttering a little bit, Salah is doing consistently quite well. So yeah, I think he's a couple of weeks ago it was one of those, do we hold him? And a lot of people were sort of leaning towards no, let's get rid of him. But he's sort of swung back recently for me, and I'm quite happy just to keep Salah there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not really selling him for the time being. There's nobody else I really want for him. So apart from maybe Kane at this point, who looks like they might have a really good double in 26. So maybe I'll do it then. Yeah. We'll see.
All right, well, should we move on to talk about Palace and Burnley? Burnley, the first of the double game week teams.
Yeah, so quickly brush past Palace because XG as a team 3.22 with 5 scored, which is 19th of all teams. XGC of 8.06 with 6 conceded, which is 19th of all teams as well. But the fixtures are good. Burnley, obviously, Brighton then away, Fulham at home, Tottenham away, obviously tough, and then West Brom at home. So 4 of the next 5, really good. Look great for them for picking up points, but they're looking torrid on both sides of the ball at the moment for defence and attack. So, I mean, they've basically never won or even scored goals when Zaha has not been playing.
Bad,
the new striker, I think Mateta or something, he didn't impress when he played. He looked pretty bad, honestly. So, at the moment it's completely avoid. Can't really recommend anyone. I mean, PVA did play in like left mid, which is interesting with Mitchell playing as well. So I think Mitchell at 3.9 is still a decent shout. But PVA maybe if he keeps that place, but obviously Zaha, we don't know how long, he's definitely out. But yeah, for now, avoid. I think. Yeah. I think also if you did get Zaha on our Vice like a few weeks ago, because we thought he'd obviously be good with these fixtures, I think moving to someone like Barnes, Grealish, Maddison, stuff like that is good for this week.
Yeah, definitely. Burnley are a little bit hard.
Or even a Sigurdsson, actually. Sorry,
he played well as well last night, didn't he? Against Spurs in the FA Cup game. Yeah, he's been in good form recently. On to Burnley. So, like I say, one of the double game week teams. Obviously, they've got some favourable fixtures, Palace and Fulham. But what's put me off a little bit, 0 clean sheets in the last 4 games. Probably a bit of a worry, thinking for people who are doubling. I've had Lowton in my team for quite a while now, so it's not really been a question of having to bring one in, which is good, but I suppose it's a question in whether to double up on them. But I think they've probably got 2 good fixtures to try and do it again. So Fulham have got 2 goals in their last 4 games, which is the worst record in the league. Palace have got 5 goals in the last 4, which is mid-table, but they're coming up against 2 teams that don't tend to score a lot of goals, and you'd expect, I think, probably at least 1 clean sheet in this one. So Pope does lead the way of all Burnley players who expected points, so he's had 21.4 expected in the last 4. My sort of differential pick on the Burnley side of things is Tarkowski. I've watched quite a fair bit of Burnley highlights recently, which admittedly there haven't been a lot of. I was going to say I looked for a while on YouTube, but yeah, he's had 2 big chances in the last 4, which is the same as Danny Ings, and 1 more than Son, which amazed me. So yeah, 5.2 million, 2% ownership, and yeah, decent differential for double game weeks. If anyone's planning on free hitting, I think it could be worth a good a shout.
Yeah, I mean Pope, he did have a flag as well, but I think Dyche has said today he's trained. So I wish I had him. I wish I didn't have to have Lowton because Lowton's not going to get any bonus. Pope almost certainly will if they keep a clean sheet, which they're probably going to get 1. Hopefully not 2.
Yeah.
It's worrying only having 1. So I probably want them to concede in both games, to be honest, even though I own him. So Lowton, that is. We'll see.
All right, talk Man City, Spurs, the juicy double game week team. But I saw someone in the chat ask why we don't have, neither of us have Gundogan, but I really don't know. I haven't really got a good excuse. Blind faith in Souček, which has sort of been paying off, and at no point did I really want to downgrade Salah or Fernandes, and the same with Son, and that's probably it really.
Yeah, I had KDB and I just went to Sterling rather than Gundogan. I didn't really believe in him as an asset at the time. I don't know. I guess it was just a fancy run of form, but he's been returning for ages, which I'll talk about in a second. Yeah. But should have gone that way, and then I could have easily have got a Kane and Son back in, or Son for last week for his points and stuff like that, and I probably would have kept him, but never mind. So yeah, Spurs, Tottenham and Everton in the double. Arsenal after that, West Ham, and possibly Man United after that in a double as well in 26. I think it might possibly have Villa in the double as well. I might be wrong. I haven't wrote that down. I'm just trying to remember. But anyway, XG of 8.46 with 12 scored, which is the second of all teams. An XGC of 1.97 with only 1 conceded, which is first of all teams. So Yeah, this is classic Man City looking good on both sides of the ball at the moment. From FPL Salah on Twitter, 47% chance of a clean sheet versus Tottenham. So that's a pretty likely to get a clean sheet. 42% chance for a clean sheet versus Everton as well. So they look odds on to do well for most of us who own double defense. I've been tempted to sell one of them so I could get Gundogan for possibly for a Souček or something like that, and that would alleviate my kind of wanting to bench Souček or not wanting to bench Souček thing by not owning him. But I don't know. There's Rodri's got injured or something, so people are possibly saying he might go back into a sort of a more 6 kind of role and more defensive midfielder area. But I don't know. I don't necessarily see that happening, but we'll see.
No, I can't see that happening so much either. I mean, he's been so vital for them getting goals and assists recently. I don't think Pep would sacrifice sort of like a winning formula to put him back a little bit. I mean, admittedly, Pep does change the team quite a lot and sometimes doesn't bend to what you think is logic. But the fact that he's been doing so well in front of goal recently kind of makes me think that that's a really important part of the team and it won't be changed too much. I mean, you could have had a monster. I think you could probably pick maybe 4 or 5 City players and they could get over sort of 10 points collectively this game week. I suppose the thing you've got to consider is how much rotation there's going to be. I noticed he changed it a fair amount for the FA Cup game against Swansea, but Sterling still started, came off before 60th minute.
Which is good.
Yeah, well, it sort of gives you a bit of hope that he should start and play these two. But I think, I mean, I'm not going to be able to move from the double defence now, and I don't think I will. I don't think it's the best 2 fixtures to have like double defence for, because Tottenham and Everton are going to try and attack them. But yeah, I could probably see one clean sheet happening in these games, and it's just about how prolific they are in front of goal, really, for any captaincy shout. Because I'm guessing I'd say 90% of the this game week that are still playing are going to captain a City player this game week. So it's just about choosing that right one, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cancelo, Stones, Diaz not starting in the cup. Obviously, Diaz had a bit of a flag as well, possibly unwell. So those 2 not starting cup says that they start in the Premier League at least. And then Gundogan and Sterling starting, coming off early, says they probably start as well. You'd imagine Foden too as well, because I don't think he even got on in the cup. So there's at least a few picks from the sort of FPL Twitter template for that should start. Should be predicting Man City, but so speaking of Gundogan, then 25.7% owned at this point, probably gone up since the last time I wrote down the notes. 6 million. I mean, I didn't realize his hauls were like this. So his points 8, 10, 14, 3, 8, 13. That's the last 6 weeks, and then before that he had a 3, 11, and a 10. Wow. So I mean, imagine if he didn't sky that penalty last week, he would have been just
a big haul.
A rocket, just like destroying my rank. Top scoring midfielder last 4 weeks with 38 points, XG of 2.16, XA of 1.29, 6 shots, 4 big chances, 9 key passes, 2 big chances created, 4 goals, 1 assist. That is KDB light, isn't it? It's just not even light on the stats. That looks great. So only 6 shots, which is maybe a slight worry, but he's been very clinical when he has got the chance. So at this point, he seems like the best captain option.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree, and that's why I'm tempted to get him in rather than Sterling, and go for it, really. I mean, some big numbers, and you think across the 2 games he's likely to play both, and a return from him would be great. And I think it's a bit different to the last time they had double game week when Stones and Diaz obviously got some big points, and most people captained De Bruyne. I think they're playing teams that are more likely going to score against them than they were at that time. So I think, putting the armband on an attacker makes more sense this time around. On the Spurs side of things, I think it's really funny because I've totally disregarded them for this game week. The fact that I'm selling Son, but after that they've got really nice runs. They've got 1 top 4 team in the next 9 after this. They have been a bit poor in front of goal in the league recently, so 3 goals in the last 4. Obviously 2 of those came in the one game against West Brom, is the second worst record in the league, or joint second worst. So they haven't been too prolific. I don't really fancy Kane and Son for this game week. Obviously, goes without saying. But you have to think that after this one, they're going to be worth investing in, because they've games between game week 25 and 32. They've got games with Burnley, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Newcastle, Arsenal, West Ham, and Everton. So a really good looking run for them. And like you say, if they double game week 26. Did you say? You think it is?
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
So I mean, one of those two is going to be highly captained, maybe triple captained for. Yeah, for then it's. I think it's building back after this double, getting them in, because I'm sure a lot of people are sacrificing this game week to get City players in.
And Son scored against them last time in the 2-0 victory.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. A lot of people are benching Son, even if they own him. But you're selling him, but a lot of people are just benching him. Which I guess if you own and not selling, seems strange to bench him. But
yeah,
I guess they probably have double City defense, and they say.
Yeah, it makes sense to bet against. All right, well, should we move on and talk about Brighton against Villa?
Yep.
Far less interesting the other one, but yeah, go for it on the Brighton side of things.
Okay, so fixture-wise, they got Villa, Crystal Palace at home, West Brom, Leicester, Southampton. So good run of fixtures. The team XG of 4.76 with 3 scored, not ideal. XGC of 3.96 with 1 conceded, which is 5th overall, which is obviously good for Brighton. The player I want to highlight is Lewis Dunk at 4.8 million, 3.4% own. He had 4 clean sheets in a row before last week, and then he still got a goal to make up for the non-clean sheet. So he's had 8, 6, 6, 8, and 9. Good for bonus when he returns, just like Justin is. So when he returns, gets a bonus. Next 6 fixtures look really great for him. Obviously, Leicester at home, the only really tough one, but I could possibly see a clean sheet because they've done well against other top sides recently. So, 6 shots for a defender as well. High. 0 big chances, not great, obviously, but 1 key pass, 0 big chances, great. But the XG of 0.69 for a defender over the last 4 weeks is pretty high. I mean, there's strikers that have got worse than that. So, only 4 big chances conceded in the last 4 weeks, which is second only to City as a team, and only 1 goal conceded in the last 4 weeks. Which is the same as City and Chelsea, but it was to Burnley, who barely score, which is kind of funny. So chance of a double in 26 as well, but those fixtures look like he could be a good pick, and at 4.8 million around the Koufal sort of me mark. If you want to get off the Burnley quite quickly, then yeah, he seems like a good shout.
Yeah, I think it's strange that Brighton have turned it around so recently. So they've had 5 wins so far this season, and 3 of them have come in the last 5 game weeks, which is quite a strange time of the season to turn it around. And makes you appreciate as well how poorly they must have been doing before that, because if they've sort of got 17 points in the last 5 games and they're still only sort of, what is it now? I mean, they're 10 points off outside relegation, but 2 points ahead of Burnley, who are just like the place above relegation. Yeah, they really had to turn it around. So fair play to them. And I think Dunks looked, like you say, looked quite good, and next fixtures look good for them. So if they can keep this run going, he could be an interesting differential for sure. On the Villa side of things, they've got a good run of fixtures coming up. So 1 top 4 side in the next 7 games, and that's Leicester at home. And you kind of fancy them with their decent home form recently. So 6.52 expected goals in the last 4 games at the 5th highest of all teams, and they're all actually underperforming their goals as well. So only 5 goals scored, so they're underperforming by almost 2, which is sort of like the highest, or one of the highest offsets in the league. But like you say, Brighton coming to this in good form, undefeated in the last 5. So I think it'd be quite a close game. Watkins, he's obviously had a few price rises this week on the back of his form, but 19% still somewhat of a differential. All season we asked for consistency with him, and he's now got 4 goals in his last 5 after going 9 games without scoring before that. So he's so consistent with his minutes too. I was listening to a podcast earlier in the week and saying how he'd not missed a minute this season and didn't miss a minute last season for Brentford. So, and how much running he puts in per game, he's incredible. So 15 shots in the box for him, more than any player in the last 4. And I kind of think Watkins has got the fixtures and the form to continue his run. So yeah, we had a comment in the chat last week: who should I keep, Antonio or Watkins? And I think the person got rid of Watkins for Antonio, and it took like him, what was it, like less than 10 minutes for him to score. And regret the transfer. But anyway, there you go.
Yeah, and Grealish could have hauled last week. Obviously, it ended up on 2 points, which is practically one of the only players in the whole team who didn't get any points that week. Obviously, Louise and stuff like that didn't, but all the defense did. Watkins did, and Grealish, Traore did. Like he deserves points because he created so many chances. Watkins missed quite a few from him, so he should have hauled. Even though Brighton away seems like it should be tough, and people are saying just for the defensive stats of Brighton that you should bench your Villa attackers for the Součeks and Cougars and people like that this week. But I don't know. I don't think there's any way I can bench Grealish because he can just go off at any point. So not for me. Let's just say that.
You were just talking a little bit earlier about getting rid of Calvert-Lewin maybe if he's injured. You had Watkins earlier in the season, and I remember game weeks would go by and you'd be frustrated with him. But do you think he's turned a corner for real now, or do you think he's just in a bit of a purple patch at the minute? Like, 'cause he's been consistent recently.
Hard to say. I mean, probably. I think he'll probably go back to going for a run without scoring. I think that's probably just Watkins. But yeah, I think he's fun to own, and he always gets so many chances. So
he does. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's possibly a good option. I don't necessarily think I want him this week. I wouldn't really want a Grealish and Watkins double up this week, particularly. But after that, because they look like they will get a double in 26 as well. So yeah, Antonio, if he's still out, then to Watkins is an easy move, to be honest.
There's so many good potential double up this season. So you've got Grealish and Watkins, Antonio, Souček, Bamford, and Rafinha in that attacker striker role. And I think it's some of the for not a lot of money, you get quite a lot of potential points. And I think there's some nice combinations to have. And yeah, either same team or mixing up maybe over the coming game weeks could be a viable strategy. I know for the game week next time out when Leeds have got a double, you and I are probably going to both have Bamford and Rafinha that one. And a couple game weeks ago, we both had Souček and Antonio. So perhaps it's going to keep happening based on fixtures.
Just wish they had the double in 19, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah.
Just bring that up again.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
All right, on to Southampton, because they're hosting Wolves. And I haven't really got anyone to talk about on the Wolves front because they've been a bit poor, really. Neto, I think, has been the highest performing in terms of expected points, but he's not really been blowing anyone away. But it was nice to see Jimenez in a training photo today, running along, looking happy. So nice. Yeah, that's cool. I don't know how far away from full match fitness he is, and I imagine, if it were me, mentally, I'd be really worried about going up for a header again. But it's just good to see him back out on the training pitch, and they need him back. 2 goals in the last 4. That's tied worst record in the league with Fulham. So they definitely need something to help them turn a corner. What's going on the Southampton side? I think obviously two I'd say big defeats, and that Newcastle defeat was a big defeat because they were playing against 9 men for a bit and couldn't get a goal back, and they had Ings and Adams on.
Yeah.
So
and conceded 3 to them in one half. So I think last time the 9-0 happened to Leicester, they sort of bounced back the next few games afterwards and looked quite good, but not so much in this one after conceded 3 to Newcastle. Sure. Obviously Newcastle not looked great recently all season, really, I suppose, but. Yeah, so the only one I want to mention really is Ings. I guess he's a bit of a forgotten man. 8.4 million, 9.1%. Possibly 3 double game weeks for Saints coming up. Obviously Wolves and Saints play in the FA Cup tonight as well, so they got 2 in a row against each other. But yeah, Ings 0, 2, 2, 2 and 2 for the last 5 weeks. So no returns in 5 weeks for him, which obviously is not ideal. And 8.4 million, he's quite expensive for someone not getting returns, isn't he? So someone like a DCL, if we're not selling him could go up to him eventually. Could be quite good. Just a stat comparison from him from game week 1 to 4 to 20 to 23. So goals is 3 versus 0, obviously big difference. XG of 2.21 versus 1.38. So yeah, not getting the quality chances. XA of 0.43 versus 0.30. Struggling on the assist side as well. Big chances 3 versus 2. Shots in the box is 7 versus 7. So that's even. Touches in the box is 20 versus 23. So getting more touches in the box, which I guess is a bit of a surprise. Key passes 3 versus 4, and big chances created 0 versus 2. So his sort of creativity side is better, but it's not sort of coming out in the expected assists. So I guess that's why he's not getting any returns right now. Interesting numbers for him. And you'd imagine he's going to try and get some points soon because they've got so many fixtures. Is he even going to play them all, I suppose, is the worry if you're going to buy him. But he seems integral to that team, of course. Adams at 6 point whatever it is, could be the cheaper way in because Long has obviously gone out on loan now as well. So I think Adams might be the the player to get possibly from Antonio instead of Watkins if you really want to
for the double.
Want to risk it, then yeah, possibly.
Yeah, Adams is actually 5'8". I mean, watch that Newcastle game last week. I remember Adams put like Ings through, and it might have been the first half actually, and he like took a touch, and it was a heavy touch, and then he like swiped it straight at Darlow. I remember Adams like throwing his arms up in the air after it, or like after he'd missed, like he was like cross with him, and I just kind of thought it didn't. I don't know. It didn't seem very encouraging. Like it felt like more like they were competing against each other, and I don't know. Maybe at the start of the season they were. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but they were like helping the team and playing for each other. And it feels like that's broken down a bit recently, and maybe that's affected them both. Because I mean, Adams hasn't scored in God knows how long. I think it was game week 12, and yeah, Ings has been poor recently. So it's a shame because you'd look at probably about 5 to 10 game weeks ago, you would have looked at Southampton double game week like we did around Christmas time and thought, oh, we need a few of their players, and now they've got a reasonable double coming up, but yeah, neither of their strikers are really interesting me. So yeah, maybe these 2 games against Wolves will prove otherwise, and hopefully one of them can spring into a bit of form.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Adams differential on the double possibly, because I won't have any. I'll have a Leeds defence, but I won't have any Chelsea players. So if he can go mad in that one, then that'll be ideal. I'll take that.
Good. All right, should we check out West Brom against Man United coming up on Sunday? Is it Sunday?
God, I don't know.
I hope it's Sunday. It's Sunday. Yeah, it's Sunday. 2:00 on Sunday. Okay. Everyone.
West Brom, like Palace, looking pretty bad on both sides. XG of 3.78 with 3 scored, 17th overall. XGC of 7.72 with 11 conceded, 17th overall. So again, terrible both sides. Clean sheet for United and possibly a thumping at the same time. So it's kind of hard to look past Bruno still for captaincy, even though City are on a double game week. Yeah, like West Brom away, Bruno's away form great. He looked a lot better lately. Pogba's possibly a bit injured. So yeah, Bruno captain maybe. I mean, you've got it on Bruno captain at the moment, but
yeah, that's just a placeholder because I couldn't bear to look at the captaincy on Son like away at Man City. I think he's been okay. We did question what he'd be like. I was going to say in a normal game after Southampton, because he'd been in by his standards poor form before that. I think it was 3 blanks in a row. Then he had that game when they're playing 9 men and he got a big return. And obviously captained him. Well, sorry, didn't captain him against Everton, who they played against the weekend. Just scored that absolute worldie, didn't he? And I kind of thought, oh gosh, here we go. Because when it had gone in, I thought he's going to be mass captain. But luckily, he didn't kick on too much. But yeah, he looks like he could be turned a corner in a game against West Brom, who typically get well beaten at home. So 16 goals conceded in the last 4 games. Could be a good opportunity to captain him when a lot of people are going to be looking at Man City players. But his last 4 game weeks away from home, Bruno has been poor. Points wise, 2, 3, 5, 3. So he's not been pulling up any trees, and you think United are going to win and probably by a couple goals. So you just hope he's involved, but you wouldn't want to watch Bruno blank or get a 2 or a 3 or 5 in a double game week when City have got two good looking games as well.
It's true. Hopefully his effective ownership isn't over 100 again, and I can actually hope he scores. But I think casuals who see the fixture and don't have many City possibly are still going to captain him for sure. He's going to be highly captain still, I think.
Yeah, and just on United forward, so it's probably worth looking at them because they're coming into a game against such a weak backline. So Cavani and Martial both played a similar amount of minutes over the last 4. So I think Cavani's played 10 minutes more than Martial, and Cavani does boast double the amount of big chances with 4-2 and has also created a big chance. So could be a shout, like you were saying a little bit earlier, for anyone free hitting or anyone just fancying a bit of a differential, because his ownership is pretty low.
Yeah, I'd love Cavani this week. If I could say that Calvert-Lewin was 100% out for a few weeks, then I'd be 100% looking that way, because I think he looks great because he was rested in the cup. So yeah, and Martial was crap at the same time.
I know Martial surprised me this season. I thought like after Project Restart he would have really kicked on this season, but yeah, Cavani's come in and just shown. We knew Cavani was a great striker, but he's shown him up really and just slowly but surely edged him out of the team. And now Cavani gets rested for the more important games. It's down to Martial to sort of play a bit better and prove that he should start. Anyway, Arsenal are playing Leeds and I think this will be quite a good game. I got Bamford benched at the minute. What do you think? That's a good decision or no? I think it's a difficult. I'm playing Kufal against Sheffield United over him. I'm kind of expecting Kufal to get a clean sheet, slightly more than Bamford to score.
You're also playing Souček ahead of him, so yeah. I don't know. Bamford's on form. He's getting goals at the moment, and Arsenal without Partey, who's been a big part of their midfield and solidarity lately. Still no Tierney as well, so I think there's what's his name? Cedric has looked awful lately as well. So I think there's points for Bamford here. I think any of them. I think that Arsenal could get a thump in here. I don't know. I feel it for some reason. It could be like a 3-1 or something to Leeds or something. I just fancy them. So I'm playing Bamford 100%. It feels like one of those ones where I made the last minute switch recently where I thought about benching him, then I played him and he hauled. So yeah, for me, I think Bamford's playing this week 100%. I would bench Souček all day instead of Bamford this week. I know that seems strange because Souček, I think Sheffield United have got like terrible defense from set pieces and stuff. So,
yeah, Ramsdale, floppy.
I know, but just I fancy Bamford. There's just a gut decision. I think he looks good. So
I don't want to be in a situation like I like watching football for goals. That's the thing. So I mean, I probably will end up deciding between Kufal or Souček to be on the bench, but I don't want to be in a situation like some people were where they had Calvert-Lewin, like you did, had Calvert-Lewin benched, and although it's like a tricky fixture, I suppose a striker can just pop up with a goal at any time. So
you could just not sell Son maybe and just bench him for Bamford like other people are doing.
Yeah, possibly. That's not a bad shout. I might be able to then, but then I want to get Gundogan in somehow.
Yeah.
On the Leeds side of things, I think Rafinha's looking really good as well. He leads away with 33 points in the last 4, so that's the most of any Leeds player. Ownership's still really low, 5.3%, and 9 shots in the box is only 3 fewer than Bamford. So I think if he keeps that form up, well, in this game, I think he's a stick on for the double game week. Dallas as well looks like he could be a good option. So 14% ownership, 4.8 million, 1 goal in the last 4, 1 big chance, 5 key passes, and like I say, could be another player for the double game week. And I'm so torn about Bamford, but looking at the stats, it does make me think that I should play him. I mean, Leeds ranked 3rd highest for average goals away from home in the last 3 after City and Liverpool. So I mean, that's a big eye-opening stat. That does make me think. Yeah, maybe I'm a bit stupid leaving him on the bench at the minute.
I think Arsenal had a run of good clean sheets, but I think I don't know. We're just being. We think they're hard to score against now, but I actually don't think they are. I think that was when Partey was in the team and he's out for a good few weeks with a hamstring injury as well. So,
maybe he'll come back in. I think they've kept 3 clean sheets in a row at home. Maybe I'm overthinking that a bit.
Yeah, something like that. So the only one on the Arsenal side I really any hope for, but I'm kind of struggling, is Pepe. I mean, 7.6 million. I think it's pretty cheap for him. 0.8% owned. And he's looking obviously a bit more confident, but he was pretty crap versus Villa last week. But he's obviously looking more nailed on at the moment, though that has been on the left-hand side with Aubameyang's not been fit or not playing. I can't remember what it was. But 7-3, 6-3, 7-2 the last 4 weeks, still not amazing. But he did pass the eye test on at least 2 of those occasions. 12 shots, that's quite a lot for a midfielder. Yeah. 1 big chance, 4 key passes, 0 big chances created. XG of 0.8. XG, of 0.89 and XA of 0.83. So the low XG was chances from he sort of scored were ones that it looked like unlikely to score, I suppose. And then so in that sort of terms, his XG isn't the worst and his stats aren't the worst. But I don't think they've got a double coming. The fixtures is Man City and Leicester after this, Burnley and then Tottenham, who obviously seem like decent teams defensively. Not for Tottenham from Everton last night, but still, I don't know. I need to stop talking about him because there's no point.
I noticed they were way down on the XG as well. I mean, I think they were like their total is one like the 4th or 5th worst in the league in the last 4. So they've not been that great. Let's move on. We've got 3 fixtures to go and a couple of maybe 2 double game week teams coming up now. So Everton are playing Fulham. We've spoken about them in a bit. DCL we've spoken a little bit about, but do you want to just kick off on it? Because he's returned to form a little bit, hasn't he, here?
Yeah, so assuming he is fit, and which we assume at the moment he's not, but after no returns in 5 weeks, he's got 3 and 2, and I think he had 3 returns in the game last night as well. I think he got the goal, then he had 2 assists as well. So he was coming back into form, and then he obviously has to go and get injured, which is not ideal because he was the one player everyone wanted from Everton for the double, and it's just ruining everyone's playing. So 2-2, 9 and 12 last 4 weeks. 12 versus Man United, he obviously had that basically only one chance where he scored, which was nice. And obviously, well, not nice for me because I benched him, but home form, he's only blanked 3 times all season. So his returns have been 17, 6, 5, 5 and 4, which isn't too bad. I'd expect him to blank against City. If he's got that sort of hamstring thing, he probably doesn't even play against Fulham. Awkward to even talk about him, I suppose, at this point.
Do you see Richarlison as an option? I mean, he got 2 decent goals last night, but his stats haven't been great in the league. I just had a quick look. So in the last 5 appearances, he's only had 6 shots in the box, 1 big chance. Compare that to Calvert-Lewin, who's had 8 shots in the box and 3 big chances. Do you think maybe he'll play if he's out? Richarlison could come in and play a bit more centrally.
Yeah, I think he did last night, didn't he? So he looked quite good as that sort of central striker. So yeah, maybe, but I don't know if I'd.
You want to bring him in
for it's awkward. It's really awkward
because you'd be probably thinking about getting him out as soon as the double is over or Calvert-Lewin's back.
At the moment we just don't know if he's fully injured or not. So there's too much ambiguity around everything, and it's really hard to sell Calvert-Lewin because of the possible really good double coming up as well, and then it's hard to just keep him because we don't know if he's fit. And he could just have 1 game against Man City, even if he makes that one, which you expect him to blank, and that's 2 points, where you could have benched him for, I don't know who, like Kasuchek or a Kufa on my team. So everyone is probably looking to us for advice on this. But we don't know. Is this possible to say?
Look at my rank. I definitely don't know this season. What else was I just going to say? Oh yeah, I was going to do a quick quiz. How many? Because I just looked at Richarlison's stats. How many goals do you think he has in the league this season?
It's probably about 3, 4.
Yeah, you're close. He's had 2. So last night he matched the amount of goals he's had in the league this season in 1 game. So yeah, maybe not the best pick. All right. On the Fulham side of things, their fixtures aren't bad. So Everton and Burnley away in this double. Then they've got Sheffield United at home, Crystal Palace away. But their attack is just not worth investing in at the moment. So they've got a league low of just 2 goals in the last 4 games. Their XG is fairly mid-table, so they're underperforming that. So they've expected to have had 4.5 goals in the last 4 games. So surprisingly, that XG is ahead of both Arsenal and Spurs. But obviously, they've just not been taking their chances. I think Areola in goal is probably a good shout. 4.5 million, and I think he's had a clean sheet in the last 4 games, or single clean sheet, I should say, in the last 4 games. So maybe he could pick one up in their second game against Burnley. I could see that being maybe a goalless draw. I think he's had 2 clean sheets, in the last 4. 1 against Brighton and 1 against West Ham. So they might be a good option. Otherwise, I don't really see many reasons to invest in the Fulham team. I think one of their defenders, is it Adrababoya?
I think they call him Tosin now. That's what he's meant to be called. Okay. He's got Tosin on the back of his shirt now, and then he's been asked to be called Tosin.
Right. I tried really hard to pronounce it. Anyway, so he's not bad. 4.5 million, 2 clean sheets, like I said, in the last 4, 2 shots in the box in that time, and which were 2 big chances. So that's the best of all Fulham defenders. I think it's a hard ask to bring in a Fulham defender, though. I think I'd be more likely bringing a goalkeeper. But yeah, not really interested in any of their attacking assets. Do you feel the same way about Fulham?
Yeah, I think if you've got you're not even starting Guisa this week in the double.
No, who am I going to start him over? No. What? Son? I'd start him over Son. No, because Son's either going. Son's going to Gundogan.
All right. No, yeah, Lookman and they're just not consistent enough, and the fixtures aren't good enough. I don't think, because they're both kind of decent defensive teams, Everton and Burnley. So it just doesn't seem like it's worth it.
Yeah. I mean, I laugh about you saying Anguissa, but actually having to think back, he was the highest scoring player on my bench boost.
Exactly, in a double. I mean,
double game week. What was it? 19. He had 8 points.
Yeah,
same as Kevin, same as Bruno, same as Salah. So yeah, maybe the method there. All right. West Ham against Sheffield United. Obviously, we've spoken about this quite a bit because of our love for Antonio, Souček, and Kufal. I've got little to no love for Sheffield United. I thought it was really funny and a bit like heartbreaking. The other day, Sheffield United posted like on this day a year ago, and I think it was a 2-0 win against Bournemouth. And Lundstrom scored the second goal, and I was just watching it thinking memories of when they had like valuable assets. And the first goal was, even when Ramsdale was playing for Bournemouth last year, it was from a corner, and Ramsdale came out and flapped at it, and then he like chased after the ball and slid after it, and Bournemouth played it back in, and Sheffield United played it back in and scored. And I just thought nothing has changed with Ramsdale. Like, what did they see in him? For anyone who wasn't aware, I had him up until like game week 18 this season, and he was absolutely awful. Anyway, enough about Ramsdale.
So if we think Souček's going to score, because the Sheffield United concede loads of chances from so
Ramsdale's going to flap at something and it'll fall on Souček's head.
Yeah, so in my case, do I bench Calvert-Lewin for him or Antonio for Souček? Like, what are you doing? Are you benching Calvert-Lewin?
No, I'm going to play.
Are you just going to play him?
I'm going to keep the faith in Calvert-Lewin that he's going to play one and a bit games, maybe.
There's just no one I can bench for him. I'm not benching Bamford. Bench Antonio?
Would have been nice to play a bench boost in this week, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would.
Some good fixtures for some other teams in this week.
Bad memories.
I know. No, I'm gonna play Souček. Probably I'm gonna play Calvert-Lewin. Don't know how I'm gonna get Bamford in the team yet. Probably Kufal. Anyway, so I haven't really got much to say about Sheffield United. 5 goals from 3.2 XG is the biggest overperformance in the league. So they've won 2 of the last 5. So there is signs that are improving. And I thought against Chelsea it was a bit of a harsh penalty when Werner knocked the ball around him and got that. I didn't really think. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I tweeted it, and he needed Ramsdale in the face.
It was ridiculous.
And it's just like, how is that a penalty? It doesn't make sense to me because he initiated the contact.
Yeah, he's like falling over. He knocks the ball way past him. Like
he's fouled him.
Yeah, I know. It was lucky he didn't get serious injury, but I thought. I mean, they're playing better recently, but I don't think it's going to be enough for them to get near staying up. I think they're still like, what is it, 12 points off Burnley with a much worse goal difference. So I think that's impossible. Anyway, West Ham. Talk to me about some of their players.
Yeah, so obviously fixtures are getting definitely tougher. So Sheffield United is the last good one, you'd say. Then Tottenham at home, Man City away, Leeds at home, I guess is okay. And then Man United away over the next 5. Team stats XG of 6.56 with 7 scored, XGC of 4.61 with 6 conceded. So they're kind of overperforming on XG, underperforming on XGC. The one I was going to talk about for Antonio was possibly out, but then people are saying that possibly on Twitter that he might play and should be fine. So I don't know at this point for him as well. But yeah. He's got 9, 9, 5, 2, 8, and 2 in the last 6 weeks. It's hard to know what to do with him because he's got such a good fixture, but he could be out. I don't want a 30 minutes from him particularly. But then at the same time, Sheffield United defensively have looked okay, just in open play at least lately. So, but yeah, so Kufal, start or bench Kufal is something you're probably interested in, and many others are, I guess. Sheffield United have actually scored 8 in the last 8 games. 8 goals. Have scored in the last 8 games in a row. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. In all comps, including against in all competitions, but except versus City. So, Agbona, muscle injury. He's been their rock at the back this season, so he's out. Diop also came on for Agbona, but then went off in the FA Cup with concussion protocol. So, Yarmolenko also out. He has obviously been starting, but he's got a knee thing as well. So on paper, you'd think Kufal clear 6 points, but I think actually with Sheffield United, getting a few goals lately, maybe not winning games, but getting a few goals, Kufal might not be the best option to start. So you can bench him, I think, happily. We'll see.
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, I kind of think that that's some sound reasoning. And I also think that, maybe I'm wrong, but didn't Kufal play 120 minutes in most of the West Ham team?
He did.
Last night, and it was quite a lot of their first team, wasn't it?
Yes, and I also think he went into centre-back when Diop went off as well. So,
yeah. I think it was mainly, was it Antonio that was rested? and that was roughly about it. Maybe some West Ham fans will know a bit better, but I remember from their team sheet, like you say, yeah, Kufal did play a lot of minutes as the West Ham team, so maybe they'll be tired coming back after playing that long. Don't know. Maybe that makes me think a bit differently about that. Okay.
I think Souček played the 120 as well, as far as I know.
Okay, all right. Final game of the game week, Chelsea, Newcastle. I say final game of the game week. We've obviously got the double fixtures, but we've tried to cover them in each of their first game.
So, the one I want to talk about for Chelsea, I suppose, is Mason Mount. He's looked pretty good lately. His scores haven't been that great, but 1, 3, 3, and 8 over the last 4 weeks. So, but the last week was where he looked very good, and he has seemed to get his place nailed in the team under Tuchel now. He obviously was. I talked about Callum Hudson-Odoi in one of our other videos as possibly being nailed in the team, but then he was instantly dropped the next game. So maybe that can happen with Mount. Yeah, Alonso as well. Yeah. I just think Mount just seems to managers seem to like him, and he just does everything, doesn't he? His work rate is off the charts. So I think he should be playing, and he seemed to be getting quite farther forward in the last few games. So 8 shots, 2 big chances as well for him was pretty good for a sort of just a CM, I suppose. 7 key passes, 1 big chance created, an XG of 0.99, which is decent, an XA of 0.80, 1 goal, 1 assist, or 0 assists, sorry. So stats aren't great, but they look like decent for assist potential at least, and the fixtures look good for attacking returns. Obviously Newcastle at home this week, Southampton away, Man United at home, Everton at home, and then Leeds away. Those look good for attacking potential, I think. He's just one that I think could do well in the next few weeks. Yeah, no, we sort of highlighted him a while back, didn't we? And say, despite all those like sort of big name midfielders coming in, or just been chipping away and being quite consistent. It's a shame he's so much money, because I don't think he's only had 1, maybe 2 double-digit hauls this season. So he wouldn't be like a reliable. I suppose he'd maybe be a reliable 3rd or maybe 4th midfielder, but he's just a bit expensive. I do quite like him though. I think he seems like a good player, and maybe he's going to be playing a bit differently under Tuchel. Maybe he'll get further forward and have more chances. So, remains to be seen. On the Newcastle side, actually, despite the fact they've lost 3 of their last 5, they're actually the 4th highest, or scored the joint 4th highest amount of goals in the last 4 games with 7. And their defence is actually looking quite good. So expected goals conceded of 3.87 is the 3rd best in the league in the last 4 after City, Chelsea and Man United. So despite those 3 out of 5 losses, the underlying numbers are really good. But they've been dealt such a huge blow with Wilson being out, because he's been such an important figure for them so far this season. And to see him be ruled out for such a long time must be a big blow. I mean, after Wilson, Almiron is the next best in their team for attacking returns and threat. So he's had just 1 goal in the last 4 shots in the box in that time. So essentially, 1 per game, and that was a quarter of what Wilson was doing. So I'm kind of expecting a big drop off in front of goal for Newcastle, and they've got some tough games coming up. They've got Chelsea and Man United away, Wolves at home, not too bad, and then West Brom away, who are obviously going to be scrapping because they're trying desperately to get as many points on the board, and they're a team who are going to be looking at that and thinking, well, if we can get 3 points on Newcastle, that brings us closer to them. So I think it's a really tough time in prospect for Newcastle at the moment, despite their numbers there. And not really see any investment. What do you think about Wilson being out? Big drop off for them? He's been their main source, hasn't he? Obviously, Almiron has stepped up a little bit lately. St. Maximin started the last game as well, who always looks pretty good. But without Wilson at that vocal point at the top, Carroll definitely can't do it. Joe Linton can't do it. So I mean, are they going to play like a false 9 maybe, with just like Almiron as just running around aimlessly? I mean, I don't know. They're just Chelsea seems to be an obvious clean sheet for this week.
Well, Wilson's had 16 goal involvements this season, so that's goals and assists combined, and they've only scored 25 goals total. So that's 65% of their total goals have had Wilson involved somehow. So I think that's going to be a big miss for them. Cool. Any more to add?
No, I think we've covered all the fixtures, haven't we? Is there any sort of quick questions we can cover?
We've come in good, haven't we? 55 minutes.
Yeah. So worth a -4 for Pope. Someone said Matt Warden has asked.
What would you do? I'd probably say no.
If you don't have any other Burnley defenders, then maybe. Yeah, I think we're expecting at least one clean sheet, so it probably would at least get paid off.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are tempted to captain him as well, which I obviously am not going to go near. But if you feel that way inclined, then it could be a shout. Yeah, I don't mind it too much.
I can't see. I mean, usually Pope, you get the save points and you get the big bonus, but I mean, I can't see Palace or Fulham having peppering their goal and having loads of shots. I mean, Fulham have been pretty shot shy recently, so yeah, I wonder how much they're going to lock it down. It could be one of those frustrating games where Fulham have like 2 shots and he concedes a goal, but that's forecast being really pessimistic. On the flip side, he saves like 12 shots and they keep a clean sheet. I probably wouldn't do the -4 for a goalkeeper. Do it for a defender, but not a goalkeeper.
And then a little bit of a funny one. Matthias Carlson's asked, could it be considerable to bring in Joshua King for Calvert-Lewin? And I'm just going to say no straight off.
Bring in who?
He's had like 10... Joshua King. He's had like 10 minutes since coming, hasn't he?
No.
Since so, yeah, it's a no from me.
Yeah, no. Someone's just said Son or Kane. What do you think? Dinner date? Who would you rather have a dinner date with, Son or Kane?
Son, because I reckon he's got more stories to tell.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's bring it back to an FPL question now, guys. Richardson is a lovely replacement for DCL. See, FPL Penguin.
He could be. He could be. Are we even going to get a presser maybe tomorrow? Possibly from Everton. Hopefully. Hopefully he says something. But until then, I'm just waiting to see, I suppose. Like we said, there's possible really good double game week for them in 26, and you'd expect him to be back by then if it's just a small tweak. And he could be back for the City ones. We think he might miss both. He might play for them. We don't know. So at this point, it's hard to say Richarlison could be good or not.
Yeah, difficult. Right, what other questions have we got in here? Someone says, "Are these two together?" I'm guessing they mean us. No, we're not. It would be nice though, wouldn't it?
We're not in the same house, no.
No. What else have we got on here? How does it look for James Justin in the coming game weeks?
Well, I think they said something like he felt a pop, but then they also said that they don't. He was walking around perfectly fine, and it didn't seem as bad as they thought. So it sounds like he might miss a couple of weeks, and he should be okay.
That makes me grimace. The idea of like hearing a pop. It's gross.
I don't know. I don't know if that's just rumor of people saying he heard a pop. So I don't know. But this week, if you have him like me, he's safe to bench, like he was benchable anyway against Liverpool. So I think you just leave him for the time being, unless you want to get him in for like, I don't know, like a Chelsea defender maybe and play him. But I don't know why you'd sell him, because their fixtures are so good actually. So after Liverpool, so I think he's fine to keep for the time being and just wait for news.
Yeah, I'd be minded to keep him as well. All right. So final shout then. So captain, you know you're going to be locked in with Sterling, don't you? Mm-hmm. I'm going to get Gunnadan somehow, and he's going to be my captain. So are you any clearer on what your transfer is going to be now? I
still think McCarthy to Areola seems quite smart for one of them, and then I think I'm just going to roll the other. So I have 2 for next week, so I can get Souček for what's his name, Rafinha. Next week, and then I think I'm just going to leave Calvert-Lewin and Antonio and Justin for now, just because I don't have enough information. Just roll with it, because I got 2 decent bench. So yeah,
I like it. I think I'm going to be a bit boring like you, and also get Areola in, but unknown yet whether it's going to be for Johnson or McCarthy. I'm going to play Bamford over Kufal, and then obviously get Gunnadan in. So yeah, I'll probably end up saving 1 transfer too in the end, because I don't really see any others as being a good short-term fix. Our teams are coming around to be quite similar again, so maybe I've got to change that up. We'll have different captains this week, so that's fun.
Yeah, I'm looking at my team, and it's there's practically no one in there that's not template, and it's kind of boring at the moment. So that's why I'm getting mostly returns from everyone. I'm still going down, because I'm getting the captain wrong. So I need to get some differentials quickly. Yeah,
definitely. All right, cool. I think that wraps it up for tonight's show. We just hit an hour. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll probably be back next week with another live show, depending on what the feedback in it is. Oh, what the feedback on this is. So yeah, let us know if you enjoyed the show. Have a great game week. We'll be back with our captaincy and Cougar Cup videos. One this evening probably, and one tomorrow evening just before the game week deadline rolls around. Right, thank you again. It's goodbye from me.
Cheers everyone, good luck.
Bye bye.